Hello, my name is Farooq Muhammad Aliyu from Mobile and Pervasive Computing Labs at King Fahd University of Petroleum and Mineral Resources. So today we are going to see how um, to simulate using Omnet++. In this video we'll be running the Hello World version of Omnet++, which is the Tictoc. So the first thing we do is we start the simulator by going to the folder where the simulator is extracted and installed. So I installed mine in this folder, and I'm using version 5.0. So when you run the cmd file, a bash command prompt or shell will open, and to start the Omnet++, you type Omnet pp. This will start the Omnet++, and it will prompt you with where you want the work space to be saved. We just click OK for the default in samples. Okay, so this is the Omnet IDE. It looks more like Eclipse, and we can now start the project by going new Omnet, and we give it name. Let's call it my Tictoc. Next, empty project. Yes, Omnet simulator, debug and release. So it seems like I once had something like that, but we have overridden it. So this is our project. Now the project consists of include files and a default NED file. These other folders are sample projects that Omnet++ comes with. The current project which you are working on will have the C and an open folder icon. So let's go ahead and start with the NED file. So in order to have an Omnet simulation, you need a network description, network of the simulation of the scenario we want to simulate. So let's call this Tictoc.net. In our case, since we are simulating networks, we'll be talking about network nodes. So here we'll have our modules and connections to those modules. Since we are simulating for networks, the modules are called nodes in this case. So let's call them nodes. So simple, we call it simple because it contains it does not contain other modules in it. So simple, and let's call it Tictoc node. Okay, inside the module you describe the contents of the module. In this case, the only thing we have are gates and we have an input gate. We can call it port in, and we have an output gate. We call it port out. So we have finished with the network description. Now the next thing we have to do is the network itself. But before we go there, you can switch between design mode and source mode. In the design mode, you can see the node class we have created, and in this place you can have you can drag and drop any of the nodes and networks and connections without having to write the net using net language. Now let's continue with the network. Let's give the network Tictoc network. Okay, so Tictoc network, the network will consist will consist of all the nodes and the interconnection between them. So we have submodules. So the first submodule is Tick. It's an instance of the Tictoc node. So it will have two ports, an in port and an out port. Toc is also an instance of the Tictoc node. Okay, the next thing we have is connection. So what is the connection between the Tictocs? Tick is connected to the Tick port. The Tick port out connects to Tick Toc port in, and Tick port in is connected to Toc port out. So the arrows show the direction of flow of the packets. Now you can go to the design view and you would see the two nodes being connected. We could just move them apart so that everything looks clear. Okay, this is Tick and this is Toc. Now you can see more attributes have been added to show the location of Tick and Toc on the network. This is just coordinates of where Tick and Toc are, and this is the background, the size of the background. So they use this description for display to describe these properties, but you can clean them, they have no effect on the simulation at all. Now the next thing is to create the functionality, and the way we can do that is by creating a C file. So the C file, we go to projects, we go to C, and we click on the source file, and let's give it name Tictoc function.cc. So now we have a C file, an empty C file, where we will write the functionality of the network. So if you look at this presentation, if you could remember in the class, that a C file consists of a class which has initialization and message handle. So the message handle is where this simulation goes into loop until the simulation is over, then it finalizes if you have finalization in the end of your simulation. So the first thing we need to do is we need to include all the files we need. So we need string.h for string manipulations. We need Omnet pp.h for the simulation itself. So we'll be using the namespace Omnet pp often, so we'll just declare it. Now that we have the files we need, the next thing is we create the class. So we say class. The class must have the same name with our module, and the name of our module in this case is Tictoc. So a simulation can have more than one class if you have more than one module, and each class will describe the behavior of the module. So Tictoc is the name of our class, and it inherits its behaviors from simple module, which is a public class. Okay, so this is what we create. This is our class. Now the class will consist of two methods. In this case, we have the initialization and the message handling. You can have properties like packet count, time to leave, packet count, and other related properties like battery energy and so on and so forth associated with this class. So those will come out as variables. So since we don't have any variables for now, we can just have two functions, initialize and handle message. So we don't want external access to them, so we protect them, protected, and we call this void because it doesn't return anything. Also, message handle does not return anything. So initialize is actually an inherited property from simple module, so we tell it to override the default initialize from. However, message handle receives message, so we know we can give it a message to receive, and the data type for this message is C message, and C message is only works with pointers, so we have a pointer and we have override to override the original method inherited. So now that we have our class, we have to register the class to Omnet++. The way you do that is you say define module and you write the name of the class. The name of our class is Tictoc node. Okay, now we have registered the class with Omnet++. Now the next thing is we write the code for each of our classes. The first one we shall begin with is the initialize. So initialize is from Tictoc node. Initialize. Okay, so initialize is the first method that Omnet++ run during simulation. Since Omnet is an event-driven simulation, in this case, initialize will create the first event, which will set a chain of reaction of other events. So in our case, we want Omnet to choose which node will send the first packet, who fires the first shot, if you will. So what we'll do is we check the nodes. If string compare, if the node's name is tick, get name. If the node's name is tick, then create a message. We can call it is equal to new C message. We can put some message inside. Hello world. So this is our message. Then we can now send the message out. So we can say send. So what are we sending? We are sending message. Through which port are we sending this message? We can check the name of the ports. The output port is called port out, so we are sending from port out. You can just point at a function and you can get description about the function. So the next thing we do is we create the message handle, which will work perpetually. So void Tictoc node handle message. Okay, we know it's a pointer called message. So now in the initialization, we have tick sending a message out through its output port. Now if should any node receive this message through this variable, what should it do? So in our scenario, we have a simple thing to be done, which is send it out again. So if you receive a message, send it through your port out. So what's going to happen in this simulation is that in the beginning, tick will send a message through its output. Talk will do its initialization too, but when it reaches this if statement, it will not send any message, because if you compare talk, if you compare the name talk and this string here, you'll get something that is not 0, so it will jump out the if statement, and the message, it will not send any message. Okay, and that's all. Nothing is going to happen until after talk receives the message. So it will receive it via this MSG variable, which is in the method handle. So this will then trigger the function, the next step, which is this function, send through your output this message. So we save, Control S, and then let's build the project. Okay, we have some problems. Tictoc initialize misspelled. Okay, let's run it again. Initialize. What's the error? I haven't saved, sorry, I haven't saved. So build. Okay, there we go. Now simulation has been compiled. Now we can just click run. Okay, Omnet++. Okay, we don't have an ini file. Do you want to create one? Okay, an ini file has been created. You can modify it later. Okay, so the bar here, it's trying to run the simulation. Okay, here we go. The two nodes interconnected, and this is the TK environment for visualizing the simulation itself. So all you have to do is just run, and the nodes will be executing, and you can see I can track the events at the bottom here, and you can see talk sending to tick, and the message inside is hello world, and is of ID 0 and of kind 0, which means the same message is bounced in and out of the network. So you can use this to zoom in, and you can use this to zoom out of the environment, just to view things better. So to stop the simulation, you click stop, and to finish the simulation, you click finish. Since we don't have a finish function, there is nothing to finish, so we will just say yes, and that's all. That's all for today. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening.